The origins of the Feast of Corpus Christi are deeply rooted in the 13th and 14th centuries, particularly in the events that transpired in Liège, Belgium in 1374. This feast, now celebrated universally in the Catholic Church, commemorates the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. The movement that led to the institution of this feast was inspired by visions, devotion to the Blessed Sacrament, and miraculous occurrences that solidified belief in the Eucharist as a divine mystery. Liège was at the heart of the Eucharistic movement in medieval Europe. It was a city renowned for its monasteries, intellectual centers, and deep religious fervor. One of the most notable figures associated with this movement was Saint Juliana of Cornillon, also known as Juliana of Liège, a devout nun and mystic born in the early 13th century. Although she passed away in 1258, her visions of the Blessed Sacrament sowed the seeds for the future celebration of the Feast of Corpus Christi. She saw a vision of the moon with a dark spot, symbolizing the absence of a feast dedicated specifically to the Eucharist in the Church's liturgical calendar. Inspired by these visions, Juliana devoted her life to promoting such a feast. While Juliana's efforts were supported by some local clergy and theologians, it wasn't until decades after her death that the Feast of Corpus Christi gained significant recognition. Pope Urban IV officially instituted the feast in 1264 through the papal bull Transitoris de Hoc Mundo. However, its widespread adoption across Europe faced delays due to political conflicts and challenges within the Church. By the 14th century, Eucharistic devotion had grown immensely, fueled by theological developments, miraculous events, and a growing awareness of Christ's real presence in the Eucharist. It was in 1374, in Liège, that this devotion reached a pivotal moment. The Eucharistic miracle of 1374 in Liège is often regarded as a profound confirmation of the doctrine of transubstantiation, the belief that the bread and wine truly become the body and blood of Christ during the Mass. According to historical accounts, during a Mass in Liège, the host began to bleed. Witnesses were overwhelmed by this miraculous sign, which was seen as divine affirmation of Christ's presence in the Eucharist. This event sparked widespread devotion and inspired the faithful to reflect deeply on the mystery of the Blessed Sacrament. The miracle of 1374 did not occur in isolation. It was part of a broader movement of Eucharistic miracles reported throughout Europe during the medieval period. These miracles often involved hosts that bled, glowed, or were otherwise transformed, serving as visible signs to affirm the teachings of the Church and to combat skepticism or heresy. In the case of Liège, the event underscored the city's central role in fostering Eucharistic devotion and led to increased recognition of the need for a universal feast dedicated to the Blessed Sacrament. The events in Liège in 1374 also played a significant role in uniting the clergy and the laity in their shared reverence for the Eucharist. Pilgrims from across Belgium and beyond traveled to Liège to witness the miraculous host seeking spiritual renewal and inspiration. This collective devotion further solidified the importance of the Eucharist in Catholic life and underscored the necessity of a feast to honor it. The Feast of Corpus Christi was celebrated locally in many parts of Europe by the 14th century, but it was in Liège that the feast received unparalleled support. The city's clergy, scholars, and religious leaders actively promoted the feast, emphasizing its theological and spiritual significance. The miracle of 1374 provided a concrete and powerful reason to advocate for its universal observance. Liturgical practices surrounding the Feast of Corpus Christi also began to develop during this period. In Liège and other cities, processions featuring the Blessed Sacrament became central to the feast's celebration. These processions symbolized Christ's presence among his people and served as public affirmations of faith. They involved elaborate ceremonies, with clergy, nobility, and common people participating together in acts of worship and adoration. The processions often included music, flowers, and decorations, creating a festive atmosphere that reflected the joy and reverence of the occasion. The Eucharistic miracle of Liège in 1374 also had a profound impact on theological discourse. It prompted scholars and theologians to further articulate the doctrine of transubstantiation and to defend it against challenges. The miracle was cited in sermons, writings, and debates as evidence of Christ's real presence in the Eucharist. This intellectual engagement helped deepen the Church's understanding of the Eucharist and reinforced its central role in Catholic worship. Moreover, the events in Liège contributed to a broader cultural and spiritual renewal in medieval Europe. The devotion inspired by the miracle and the Feast of Corpus Christi encouraged greater participation in the sacraments, increased reverence for the liturgy, and a deeper sense of community among the faithful. The celebration of the feast also became an opportunity for artistic and musical expression, as composers, painters, and writers sought to capture the beauty and mystery of the Eucharist in their work. The legacy of the events in Liège in 1374 continues to resonate in the Church today. The Feast of Corpus Christi is now celebrated worldwide, often with processions, adoration, and other acts of devotion. The miracle of 1374 serves as a reminder of the profound mystery of the Eucharist and its central place in Catholic faith and practice. It calls believers to reflect on the gift of Christ's presence in the Eucharist and to renew their commitment to living a life of faith, love, and service.